today, I checked my military calendar, and today is National Vietnam War Veterans Day. So today, thank a Vietnam veteran today. Do we have any veterans here today? Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
The prayer today is about truth. Lord Jesus Christ, you are the way, the truth, and the life. Hear our prayer for the truth and integrity in all segments of society today. May the truth be spoken by us and affirmed in others. Then in seeking truth, the world will come to find you, the source of all truth. Amen.
Okay. For financials from March 24th, Resolution 20-306, I approved encumbrance then and now from JFS to Auburn Career Center for Youth Employment Center staffing expenses that were not previously encumbered. And then on March 24th, I also approved, and this will be item number 2, approved for the Airport Authority the request for partial payment number 8 for Hummel Construction for the T-Hangar project in the amount of $37,724.50. For Water Resources, I approved hiring Joseph Gurley to the position of network technician at the rate of $19.49 per hour to be effective April 11th, 2022, with a 1-year probationary period. This offer of employment is contingent upon the successful completion of the required pre-employment conditions, and I approved an executed service contract agreement with SA Communal Company Incorporated to perform annual inspections and possible repairs at the Merritt Road Garage within the department for a 3-year period in an amount not to exceed $5,000. For 2022, $1,500. For 2023, $1,500. And for 2024, $2,000.
Thank you, Jerry. Number 2, is that 1 and 2?
He did 1 and 2 together.
Okay. So we're on item number 3. The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute the minutes for the meeting of February 24th, 2022.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes. The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute the minutes for the meeting of March 1st, 2022.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes. Good morning, Adrian.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you all?
Good.
Okay, today's financials include a travel encumbrance from the Commissioner's Office to attend the 2022 Prima Risk Management Conference, and an encumbrance from the Commissioners. This is a new encumbrance from the Commissioners to Donnelly's Independence for change orders number 10, 11, and 12 for revisions to the building for new door cores for electronic locks and changes to ADP and BMV offices. Among the vouchers are $66,640 from the Auditor's Office to Wolpert Incorporated for aerial photography for the real estate tax assessment system, and $1,507,635.11 from the Commissioner's Office to Donnelly's Independence Incorporated for pay request number 16 for the new county offices building project, and $16,096.57 from Juvenile Probate Court to various vendors, some of which are being paid by the auditor under protest due to the service dates being prior to the encumbrance date.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Second.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I know, you get into the rut.
Yeah.
It's hard
I know.
to swing it.
I got my routine.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
How are you?
How are you?
Good, good.
Nice to at least see some sun.
Yeah, well,
So we're here just with one item. We're asking the commissioners to approve and execute Resolution 22-038, recognizing April 2022 as Child Abuse and Neglect Prevention Month. We have prepared a written resolution, and we'd like to see if we could have that read into the record.
sure.
Go ahead.
Resolution recognizing April 22 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. Whereas we know that our children are our future and that it will someday fall to them to shape our community, our nation, and the world for all future generations. And whereas as a community, Jogga County values the importance of providing a safe and supportive environment in which families can nurture love and parent their children. Whereas children who are loved and nurtured grow to love and nurture others and to provide the love and care bestowed upon them to their children, their family, and their community. Whereas while as a community we are blessed to have many wonderful, nurturing families, we must recognize that Geauga County is not immune from the reality that some children in our county endure abuse and neglect. Whereas as a caring community, we must not only respond to stop abuse and neglect where it exists, but we must also be diligent in our efforts to prevent child abuse and neglect and ensure that our community is aware of its role in recognizing and preventing child abuse and neglect. Therefore, be it resolved that the Commissioners recognize April 2022 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Geauga County, and this becomes part of the permanent record.
Thank you very much. Just a couple of things. In 2021, we had well into the 400s as far as actual investigated cases, and did that with a pretty, and I know a lot of the folks in the county have staff shortages, but did that, through the pandemic. Still down a little bit in numbers just as far as referrals, just because of kind of the end of the pandemic and people not quite still laying eyes on people in the normal way. But we're definitely seeing, those numbers increase now that we're getting a little bit back to normal. So, but we're very much grateful for the commissioners to recognize that. And again, Junction Auto will be continuing their support with $50 for every car sold in the month of April. And we'll have our sign and pinwheels up there at the corner of 44 in Mayfield.
Super.
So.
Yeah, that's a company that really steps forward with this program, and hats off to them.
Oh, they've been tremendous support. Do it, really believe in it, and it really helps with dollars that are more flexible for our staff that don't have the earmarks that come from the state, federal government. So we're able to do some things with those dollars that regular monies don't typically allow us to do. So we're very grateful for their support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Make a motion for the resolution.
Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Lund?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes. Okay.
Morning.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
How's everyone doing?
Very good.
All right. 7, 8, and 9, we had an open position, our social services worker, and we actually had an internal candidate interested, so we are looking to reclassify Kristen Bibby. She's currently our home-delivered meals and volunteer coordinator. She wants to move over to doing full-time clinical to the full-time social services worker. It's the same grade, but we'd like to keep her at her same pay. So she's currently on step 3, so we'd like to keep her at $21.35 with a 180-day probationary period. And then we would like to move on and post her position. It's a very important, our home delivered meal position is very important, so we definitely want to start that search now, and she will train and remain in that role until we can have her replacement come in. So we would like to post the revised job description. We made a couple of changes, really just about privacy, confidentiality, and working cooperatively with others. That were the main changes in the job description. No changes to the grade or the pay. And we'd like to advertise that until it is filled.
Okay, great.
Good.
So moved.
So our motion's on 7, 8, and 9. I second the motion.
Commissioner Lund? Commissioner White?
Yes.
Are all the senior centers up and running?
Yep, we have been running since June.
Okay. Good.
And our adult daycare.
Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good.
Hey. Guys are getting busy, aren't you?
Guess it's spring rush starting.
Yeah.
Yeah, the plans are coming in already, so there are times for the guys start picking up on inspections too.
Excellent.
Here for items 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. These are the contracts for our Appliance Examiners. For our commercial plans, again, these are contracts. It's for a 2-year period. The cost per inspection hour has gone up, but it is 100% reimbursed with our permit fees. And we'll be coming back in front of you probably in the next week or two to ask for a revision to our fees to cover this and adjust some of our rates for commercial projects.
Is that happening across the board with fees going up? in other counties like that?
Yeah, so we've done, since I've been here in 2012, we've adjusted every 3 years.
Mhm.
We usually end up with a year where we're way ahead, we're very profitable, a year where we're kind of toe the line, and a year where we fall under just a little bit, so we are in our 3rd year here.
Mhm.
Just minor, planning on some minor adjustments, don't plan on doing much for residential at all.
Mhm.
Commercial side
It's
of
all, it's
things.
mostly commercial.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, just to cover some, obviously, rising fuel costs and, inspection costs and stuff, so.
Very good, okay. Okay, make the motion?
Second the motion.
And that would be 10, 11, 12, 13,
Okay.
and 14, because those are all Appliance Examiner contracts.
Yes.
Commissioner Lennon?
Okay. Yes.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, Dan.
Understand.
I don't think anyone's here. We already went through this process once. This is the one that the recorder's office has asked for a different form to be signed to release the mortgage for Joseph Lesky. So you already approved and released the mortgage once you conceived and it's here.
And this is the
but-
completion of the loan, right?
It is, they paid it off in full, but because it was done as an assignment of mortgage and promissory note, the recorder's office asked for a different form to be completed
Okay.
in order to release
All
them.
right, I'll make the motion on 15.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes. Good morning, Roger.
Hey,
Good morning, good morning.
how are ya? Good, good.
Two items. Number 16 is an agreement between LEPC and my agency. It transfers money from LEPC into us to pay for services that we do, chemical filing, coordination with the hazardous materials team, and then also running the LEPC committee.
Okay.
Has the names changed from last year, or is it the same?
No, this is awesome.
Okay.
It's the same for 16. 17, there's going to be a no change.
Okay, that's the one. I second the motion.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
So number 17 is the agreement between Energy Harbor and Geauga County for doing all that we do with the Perry plant.
Okay. So this is for the emergency plans?
It's for the plans, for the trainings, for the drills.
Drills.
Documented the whole.
Okay, okay, very good. I'll make the motion.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm separating.
We both signed all these.
Yes, and you have the initial, the Perry one.
Okay.
Has an initial, this is you, and then that's all, both of you.
Good morning, Glenn.
Morning, how are you all?
How are you?
Wonderful.
Good. This is for lawn mowing at 470, the courthouse annex, 208, parking, which is right next to the elementary school in the square, and JFS. Not knowing what's gonna happen with these properties, I only went with a 1-year contract.
Does this include our new building?
No, it does not. We'll do that in-house.
Okay.
Is this 2 different companies, or is that the same
No,
company?
that's the same one.
Oh, okay.
It's a DBA.
Oh, okay. Very good. Okay, I'll make the motion.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Y'all have a good day.
Yep.
Okay. Want to read number 19?
Commissioner's office is requesting the board unappoint James D. Davis as county inferiors for 2022.
Unappointed, okay.
We're gonna unappoint, because then we're gonna, the next
Okay.
action is to appoint.
All right, I'll make that motion.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Okay, so then the next action is to ask you to appoint Pat McWigan as the county apiarist and further approve and execute the 2022 Ohio Department of Agriculture appointment for county apiary inspector form to be effective March 29, 2022, with the hourly rate of $13 per hour and a mileage reimbursement of 58.5 cents.
All right, so move.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Was he recommended somehow? How did we find him?
We've actually been looking for a year and a half
Yeah.
for an apiary. Mr. Davis was put in interim last year and completed the season, and then he asked to continue until we could find someone.
Okay.
Mr. McWegan was actually at a training with the Ohio Department of Agriculture for bees. He was at a meeting and actually tracked down Barb
Oh, good.
Fletcher, who's head of the department. And they had several conversations, went back and forth, and he's a Jog County resident, and he would
He
like to
is.
do it.
Okay, good.
going forward. So,
Very
that
good.
is how we.
Do they have to be Jordan County residents?
No, because
No.
Mr. Davis lives in Lake County, so
Okay.
he was doing Lake and Jaga. He
Gotcha.
was doing both for us.
Okay, good to know. Okay.
So,
All right.
Okay. Item 21 is payment number 17 for the new building in the amount of $1,312,132.08. It's just the additional next payment on the project.
Okay, I'll make the motion.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
And item 22 is as we move forward with the Phase 2 portion of the county buildings projects. This is to hire NV5 to be the owner's rep in the amount of $438,787. And this will be through that's not a guaranteed amount. This is for the preliminary work and then what we would do moving forward
Okay.
if we decided to.
And this is with all the rest of our buildings, Phase 2 ideas and
Yes.
concepts.
Correct.
Pick
Okay.
up on the square,
For what's on the square,
courthouse.
and
Here.
square, the courthouse, the senior center,
Mhm.
a couple other areas maybe if we had to do something with the other buildings.
Very good. Okay. I'll make the motion.
Second?
Yes.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
So that is that one.
And the next item is the annual resolution for the Public Service Recognition Week of May 2nd through May 7th, 2022. It's just the resolution proclaiming that week. That's the Public Service Recognition Week.
Okay, so move.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
The expo is being held this year on Thursday in Building 8. So we didn't do it last year because of COVID. But the Wellness Committee is moving forward to do the expo for all the employees on Thursday again in Building 8. So
Okay.
it'll be part of that week.
Very good.
Is there any public comment today? Okay.
Hi,
State your name, please.
Jim Morgado. So, just here to follow up on the correspondence I gave your office all last week, and again on Sunday. I just wanted to I was trying to secure a meeting with you to talk about the funding for the wastewater treatment plant in Berkshire Heights. We talked about it last time, and there's been some other correspondence that I know you've read, but I haven't gotten any response. And I know that Mr. Spitaleri received the correspondence, but I haven't gotten any feedback from that. And I sent an editorial that I was going to submit to the local paper so you could have it in advance, and I still didn't get a response, but I'd like to read that editorial right now.
Go ahead.
It's titled Worth It. The Geauga County Commissioners have passed unanimously Resolution 22-020 on February 24, 2022, which assesses a tax on residents of Berkshire Heights subdivision in the amount of $28,000 per household to shoulder the cost of the wastewater treatment plant in Sheridan Township. I understand the sewer plant has value to our home and is safer for everyone. I don't even have a problem with the county sending me a bill for increased services, taxes to help make our community better. However, in this case, I have an issue with the lack of stewardship.
Go ahead, Jim.
Go ahead. I'm listening to you.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
thank you.
go ahead.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Great, I will. The county commissioners, well, however, in this case, I have an issue with the lack of stewardship and lack of care on this project, which led to a $54,000 plus burden to my household unsolicited by me. Did you hear that? 54,000?
Listening.
Thank you. The county commissioners and county administrator, Jerry Morgan, have secured $18 million of federal money recently with no plans to appropriate it under the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA. Currently, they hold $9 million that was received in August of 2021 and are due another $9 million in August of 2022. The use of the funds has some restrictions like capital improvement, sewer systems, and broadband, right? The residents were notified of the ARPA money in a public meeting by the county auditor, Charles Walder, on March 9, 2022, and was confirmed by the county administrator after the meeting. The wastewater treatment plant has been a 9-year project. True?
Yes.
Here is a breakdown of the funding. Do you know the funding? Do you know the funding?
I'm listening.
Do you know the funding? I'm
Are you
asking a
telling me?
question.
Are you
I'm asking the question. Do you know
I'm
the
listening
funding-
to you.
Do you know where the funding came from? Do you know the cost of the project? How much?
I'm listening.
Did you approve resolution 22-020?
I'm listening to you.
I'm asking a question.
I'm listening to you.
Why are you listening to me when I ask a question?
Well, I'm.
Do you know what the fund,
you're
how much
talking-
the project cost?
The entire project?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was 5.2 million.
right. Okay,
Yeah.
how much was granted in grants?
About 500,000.
500,000,
Yeah.
10%.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're shouldering the 4.5. Right?
Well, about 3.4 actually,
How is that?
because there's water resources put in about how much is it, Jerry? About
1.4
As a grant?
1.4.
As a grant?
as taking on part of that responsibility, yes.
Who's
for
paying back that
additional-
money?
All water resources customers.
Right. So here, a loan from Department of Water Resources, 1.4, divided by 113, that's 12 grand.
It's not a loan, it's a cost of doing business.
The cost of doing business is, the cost of the project is buried into the cost of doing business. It's part, you can't tell me that it costs me $133 every other month to flush my toilet.
No,
It
there's
does
a
not.
portion of that that goes
Portion that goes
paying
to the
for it.
project,
Correct.
so I'm paying it back.
Not
It's not-
1.4 million.
How much of it? Half?
Well, there's about $4 per bill that goes into the capital improvements project.
Well, how much is the total? How much am I kicking? I know I'm kicking in 28 grand plus interest.
Around, let's see if I do the math correctly, it's around, let's see.
I'll let you work on that. I come up with 48,000. Plus another 5,000 to tie in, minimum. And another $300 as a kicker for the application. That's $54,196. I understand the cost of projects, however, this seems a little high, don't you think? You don't need to be a CPA like me to see zero return on this investment. Who would place a $54,000 plus septic system in a 1-acre lot? Honestly. My major shortcoming is that I believe that for 9 years, the county and Sheridan Township was trying to help find funding. That's my problem. Does anyone in the county, township, or Department of Water Resources know Congressman Dave Joyce?
Yes.
According to his website and press release, he seems to have the ability to secure funds for wastewater treatment plants, such as the one in Chagrin Falls for $3.5 million and $800,000 for Geauga County to make necessary improvements and repairs to the McFarland water treatment plant to meet increased environmental protection regulations. On his website.
Those appropriations just became available to do again last year.
It's difficult for me to understand why Jerry Morgan, the county commissioners, and the Sheridan Township will not help us find funding for this project that was unsolicited by us. This is a public health issue. Are you in charge of the public health?
Public health is in charge of the.
You are in charge of the public health, am I wrong?
The health district's
No.
in charge of public health.
Are you oversee the health? Oh, you
No.
don't? Okay, so you don't, mental health, how's that? Does that fit? Of the 75 funds that you administer, does public health fit anywhere? Nowhere.
It's not under a hiring authority. There's a 5-person board,
But you benefit from septic, but you benefit from the wastewater treatment plant.
the water resources.
And that's under your jurisdiction. True?
Yes, yes.
All right. It completely astonishes me that the commissioner, in a commissioners meeting on March 22nd, the county administrator is looking into whether they can appropriate any of the $18 million ARPA money to help lift the burden of $54,196 per household. They requested the funds in April of 2021. They passed the resolution 220-0 in February 22. I believe at a minimum, they should have considered this option before they passed the resolution.
As stated before, the ARPA funds require us to follow federal procurement requirements. The federal procurement requirements were not used on
And
this
that fit
project.
with the Aquila project.
Well, the Aquila project hasn't started yet, so when
But
we
it
go out
still
to bid, we
fit.
can.
You already appropriated money for the Aquila project.
No,
No.
Really?
No.
Correct.
It's on your website.
No.
no.
It's on your
It says
website.
funding can be coming from that.
Did I produce a picture of the funding that said 2021 ARPA funding? I went to Steve.
It hasn't been
No,
appropriated yet.
no
Then why'd
money.
you put it on the website?
No
Put
money.
on the website as
It said it
a
was
funding
funded.
source.
What then, okay, so correct
And
my
the request has
misunderstanding.
been
When you
made.
say project was funded by, and it says OW whatever, and then it says 2021 ARPA money, what does that mean to anybody looking at that? What does that mean to you?
Right, well, I can tell you, none of the money's been appropriated
Why
yet.
did you put it as a funding source?
I don't know.
Because they've made the request of the commissioners to use that.
You must have
funding
had a
for the
pretty
project.
good idea it was gonna get funded, otherwise you wouldn't have promoted it that way. I went to Steve after the meeting, after my meeting on Wednesday, and he said he would change the website, and he did. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thanks for the explanation. But I can't help but think that there's some ARPA money being requested for wastewater treatment plants.
Well, there is.
And I
Yeah,
understand,
there is.
I understand the predicament you're in. I understand the predicament you're in. If you fund this wastewater treatment plant for the Berkshire Heights State, you're gonna get a heck of a lot of other people coming down your throat, looking for money.
Not necessarily. Not
Okay.
necessarily. You know.
All right, well, hold that thought.
Yeah.
But
Hold that thought.
there is the issue with going forward, the next one that's ordered by the EPA in this county, those residents are gonna wanna pay for also.
And I think you should have an obligation to help them out. Why wouldn't you? It's like me building a building, you come in, running the operation, never paying rent, and then I get to leave the building and you keep the profit.
The need for the sewer comes from the property owners failing septic systems, not the county's failing septic systems.
Okay. Got it. Public health issue.
Caused by property owners failing septic systems.
All of us.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Hold that thought. I'd like to remind all of us that we're all taxpayers and sinners, and from time to time, good people, like our elected officials, neighbors, and family members, do things out of fear to protect their own self-interest. This is one of those times. We're just looking for the truth, right, Mr. DeVore?
Correct.
Good. We're concerned over either losing our homes or being devalued, and they are concerned over setting precedent, losing positions to some other political power, or simply have an axe to grind. It's never the wrong time to do the right thing. And we're never going to get ahead trying to get even.
There's no axe to grind, I can tell you that. And, you know, I mean, seriously. So.
I have a hard time understanding that you're sitting on 30 million of unrestricted money, and it's been 9 years, and you couldn't put away $500,000 to help us out. Even if you didn't want to make the effort to go find a grant, you couldn't be like, you know what? Let me go help these people out. I could put out of $30 million they're sitting on. Listen, I read all the financial statements. There's 353 pages, Frank. 353 pages. It's from the auditor from 2020. I read them.
$30 million
Yeah, 30 million.
for of the taxpayers' dollars,
Unrestricted.
unrestricted.
Meaning you could do whatever you want with it.
Mhm.
Everything else is all tucked away in the envelopes. Everything's all accounted for
And taking-
perfectly.
So you're proposing taking other people's tax dollars and putting into the system?
You're already taking other people's tax dollars and giving it to everybody else. Why not?
Not out of our general fund. Is that what you're
Yeah,
proposing?
I am.
Okay.
You're benefiting from the system. I don't get to take the sewer pipe with me.
Mhm.
You know, you're going to make money forever. You borrow money all day long. You have $68 million available to borrow. You borrowed all the money to put up the $30 million building, right?
Mhm.
Why do you have to borrow from us? Why do you have to borrow from us to benefit your system?
That's not what's happening.
That you're not?
No.
You're creating a bill, sending it to us, we're paying you, and then we're going to pay you on top just to use the system. I don't get it.
Well, I mean, here's where we're at. It's still being reviewed by our prosecutor's office. As soon as we get a clarification and an opinion from him, I mean, I don't think you've heard either one of us say no to anything.
I don't
have
think
you?
I heard anything from you. You
Yeah,
don't
but-
answer any emails,
but-
and you don't answer any phone calls. How do
we
you
have-
run a business like that? Does anybody run a business here like that? Anybody?
Go belly up.
returning emails?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
What do I mean? The ones that you've been reading that I've been sending you.
Well, here's
Requesting a meeting.
I'll meet with you anytime you want. Call me. I mean,
That's why I'm here.
Well,
I would not be here today if you were to respond to my
But
email.
we can't have a conversation, the three commissioners, with you on a group email. That's just one thing we cannot do.
I would just like to
Yeah.
come in here and have a conversation with
Anytime.
you. So I can get understanding, so
Yeah.
I don't have to go and publish all the stuff on Nextorm and go to the paper and come back here.
Yeah,
Why
you're
are we
free to
that
do
so
what you want,
difficult?
but-
Why is it so difficult?
I
Educate
didn't
me.
think it was that difficult.
Then educate me, Mr. Lennon.
Pick up the phone and call me.
I'd be happy.
Okay.
And I'd love to have a conversation with Mr. Spitaleri. He doesn't seem to want to engage. I'm asking the county, Jerry Morgan, and the Chardon Township to make an investment in us. Take a shot, find a way. You have the funds. Work with us. We're worth it. We raise our families here. We have memories here. We live here and contribute. See us at the human level. If the county does not use the federal ARPA funds, then by law, they need to send it back. That would be a shame and a breach of duty. The Department of Water Resources, under the direction of Jerry Morgan, has implemented many wastewater treatment plants throughout the county. However, no one, or none of the residents in those communities stared at a $54,000 plus cost. Am I right about that?
No.
I'm guessing.
Talk to the people in Auburn Township.
Okay.
Auburn
Is it
Corners.
54 grand?
They had, there were properties that had $100,000 loans or
Assessments?
assessments on their properties.
100,000?
Because it was based off of the acreage of the properties.
Okay. We simply want to be treated fairly, that's all. We're asking you to rescind 22020 and replace it with a new resolution appropriating enough funds, ARPA or otherwise, to cover the full cost of $28,000 per household to the citizens affected by the wastewater treatment plant. A waiver from the Department of Water Resources of the application fee to tie into the system, estimated at $250 to $300. A recalculation of the how is that possible? So you don't charge me based on how many times I flush my toilet or use my water. You just spread the cost out across the board to everybody, right? That's my sewer bill?
Correct.
And then you can increase it whenever you want.
That they get commissioner's approval and go through a process to show that it's necessary. Because it is a nonprofit organization, so it has to show that it's not making a profit. It's covering the costs.
They're an enterprise fund, they don't receive money from the general fund.
Oh, all right, I know. I figured that one out when I looked at the financials. And interestingly enough, when I looked at the financials and the cash flow statement of the enterprise fund, everyone loves a good cash flow statement, don't they? 2020, net increase, decrease in cash and cash equivalents, net increase, $1,054,000. That's a heck of an enterprise, I agree with you. 100%.
There's a lot of construction projects going on.
Yeah, and net cash increase, $1 million. Outstanding.
To cover the cost of upgrades and replacements of existing, of the 37.
So why you borrow money?
27,
Why you borrow money then?
because we can't afford to pay for ones that are brand new. This is replacing the old systems, and we borrow the money.
Look, I don't have to borrow
because
money.
we
Borrow
don't
money.
want
Everybody borrows
necessarily
money.
put $1 million out.
Everybody borrows money. Just don't borrow from everybody here. Why do you have to borrow from us? It's like robbing from the poor and giving it to the rich. I don't. You're making money
paying
off of the
It's
system
paying off the sewer system that's going into your subdivision for your usage.
that we didn't request.
That-
No.
No, but the failing
But the
septic
EPA
systems
demanded.
in the subdivision where it caused the sewer system to happen.
Uh,
And had your township trustees not contacted the EPA, we probably could have got away with you guys replacing all your septic systems. But then you would have been set with a $20,000 to $25,000 bill that you would have had to pay for yourself.
You know what? And you know what? A one-time deal. I mean, this is great. Nobody's gonna ever pay off 30 years worth of this. And, you know, and to trickle it down to like, oh, it's only $100 a month, or it's gonna be $300 here. That's like saying I buy a used car and you're gonna finance it for 100 years. I mean, who does that? I mean, I know that you borrow money. You have plenty of money. You have plenty of money. Why can't you use your own funds to help put this infrastructure in place and then go ahead and you get the benefit of it later on?
We didn't have $5 million to put towards the project. You still didn't have $5 million, it was 1.4? And that's going towards upgrades at McFarland, upgrades at Aquila, upgrades at the other projects, where those people already paid for their assessments and paid for their sewer lines.
Did you get
and
any
they
funding
went in.
from any of the other wastewater treatment plants?
Yes, because one thing you do not see in your assessment is all the costs for the engineering and the pre-work that was done on this. That was covered by the Department of Water Resources.
Okay. So I'm
So
still
that was-
asking, how much funding did you, was it 10%, 20%, half of it? What was
I
it?
would have to go look and see how much they spent on the engineering costs and other costs, but I believe it was around, and don't quote me on this because I'm pulling it out of my
That's
head
fine,
from.
that's fine.
Years ago, almost
Here's
$500,000.
what I would suggest, is that regardless of circumstances, say this doesn't go our way, say you can't find any money, say Dave Joyce just goes to the Bahamas, and we don't hear from him, right? We don't get any money at all. Is it possible to change this policy going forward? Because it stinks. Literally.
What policy is that?
The-
That the people who are requiring a sewer system to go in don't pay for the sewer system?
The blanket logic of we're gonna charge everybody and not fix a few of them. If you were to fix 3 of them, it would have been fine. The rest of us have to suffer. Not to mention that dang road, I didn't even get to that. The substandard road that you put in is garbage.
If you want.
I'm reminded every day as I drive up and down that road, I'm like, oh, this is great. And every time I flush my toilet,
Which road is that?
Henning, Howard, Helmet,
Yeah.
Omar.
Those are township roads.
Well, I don't know where they got the
Yeah.
money from, but they didn't get the money from. There's been
I
a
know.
lot of money tossed around, all right? You have, in your financial statements, you received $14 million in federal grants for various things. Various things. None of it was for our project. That's been going on for 9 years. No, it is never a thought of anybody to go like, you know what, maybe we should call somebody and help these people out. No,
Now, that one, I take offense to that.
okay.
Because you even said in one of your emails that you don't know what went on 9 years ago.
Okay.
We spent an untold number of hours trying to find funding for this project, knowing that what the costs were gonna be, and what the value of the houses were. The only thing we were able to obtain was the $500,000 from OPWC. I mean, we spent number of hours going door to door, getting people to fill out salary surveys, to try to get the neighborhood declared LMI, because that's where the grant funds were.
The only thing that perplexes me, Jerry, is that how does Congressman Joyce get $3.5 million for Spring Falls?
Because if you actually do your research, you will see that that is something new that the federal government and the Congress started allowing last year with their budgets.
Right.
It wasn't available 9 years ago. It wasn't available 5 years ago. It wasn't available until last year.
So we've been trying every year for 9 years.
Well, we've been going through what we do. Unfortunately, with those funding sources, once you start the project, that's not. And we were up against a deadline that was set by the EPA again because of the failing septic systems.
That's another thing that I mean, you got 9 years ago, like we're all dying because of the E. coli, and 9 years later we're still standing here.
Right.
I mean, come on.
You going down to the stream and drinking out of it?
Nobody was before.
I weaved up that ditch. We got a mink run back there, blue herring, snapping turtles, fish. What do they eat? What does a mink eat? Come on. What does a mink eat? What does a blue herring eat?
We got fish, we got everything in there.
It's supposed to be polluted? You're right on.
I don't know if this is going anywhere. I don't know. But I would just, at a minimum, I would suggest this. Return phone calls. Answer emails. We're your customers.
Yeah.
We're people just like you. All right? Take a little heat. All right? Hear us out. I got to come here and scream and be a fool over here because you go on to be like, hey, Jim, let's have a seat and talk like one-on-one here. Let me explain to you what's going on.
Anytime.
I
mean,
thanks.
I don't have any messages from you, but I'm happy to meet with
Mr.
you
Len,
anytime. I'll
Mr.
come
Len,
meet you at your
Mr.
house.
Len,
wherever
you
want
read
me.
all of my emails.
No,
Yeah, you
I
did.
can't, we can't reply back to you on the email.
You can pick up the phone and call. I left my phone number multiple times.
Yeah, I didn't see that, but
You read my email stuff.
I read one.
You read them all, because I tagged them to see if you read them.
Yeah.
You read them.
Yeah.
And you did too, Mr. Dwar.
Yeah.
And to your credit, you called me yesterday. Thank
Yes.
you very much.
Yeah.
To your credit.
And-
And you showed up in the March 9th meeting. To your credit.
Yes.
And took the arrows.
Yeah,
And you were there too, Jerry.
yeah.
And I have been reached out to Dave Joyce to see if there's any funds for this project. So, I'm trying on my end to
I
return your
just
call.
feel like there's an emergency fund somewhere
Mm-hmm.
that has $1 million in it that would just soften it a little bit, or at least shorten the time period.
And listen, potentially, this ARPA money can be used towards this project. You know, we're just from, and I'm no ARPA expert, you know, this is, you know, I'll admit it, but the one thing that I knew from the original was it couldn't be used for past loans. That was the kind of the red flag. But there may be a way around that, you know, for this particular project. And that's what we're gonna try and see if we can get an opinion on that. And then, after we have that, then we can make that decision moving forward, what to do.
And I just got educated on the process.
Yeah.
Can you help tell us what the process is when you do ask for a legal opinion? What the process is? And why it takes a little bit of time?
Well, unfortunately, our prosecutor has been, he's been out for the last week or so, and he's on a big case now, but he's working on it for us. I talked to him last week, multiple times. I've tried to reach out to him for the last 2 weeks to try and get a definitive answer, but I have not.
But when he receives a request from any
Yeah.
department, it goes through, he has to go through a process. Is that accurate?
Well, yeah,
He can't just be like, oh, yeah, yes, no, right? He has
He
another.
has to review the law and verify that.
So, it's just about communication, guys. Communication and trust run side by side. Just talk to us. You know, it's very perplexing to look at this project that's been going on for so long, looking at your financial statements, and scratching my head going, you know, you got 30 mil, all right? And then you still go back to the federal government who's broke, and ask for 18. When you still could borrow 68. That's why you're not, this is, I mean, trust me, I hear what you said last week. Doesn't everybody need the money? And you can find good use for it. I'm sure you could. I'm sure you could. I'm just asking to be one of us. I'm just trying to get in line.
mhm.
Help us out. All right? All right, I appreciate you letting me, hear me out. I wish it wasn't in this public place, but I do respect what you're doing. You have 75 funds that you have to administer. That's a boatload. I do not want your position. Don't. So I do respect what you're doing. We're just looking for a little more effort. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I don't know about a special meeting. I feel like they're honest when they tell me that it's illegal and they're trying to find an opportunity. So maybe next week we'll find some answers. We have another week to go.
Okay.
As I stated last week, when we give an answer and we have a pathway forward, we will have a public meeting in the evening so that we can have all the rest of it.
Would you do me a favor and follow up from our meeting and issue a letter to the residents? Because not everybody's here and everyone's scratching their head, throwing stuff all over social media. Would you please issue the letter that we talked about saying that it's in review and we're looking into whether our money could be used?
Yes,
Can I get a copy of your editorial that you
I have a copy of it.
Oh, you do?
Email it to you.
Okay.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
go ahead.
Hi.
State your name.
Gail Rusi, League of Women Voters. The commissioners looked into the possibility of a program that would reduce the tie-in cost, similar to the homestead rebate for senior citizens of low income, just for the tie-in. I think that's authorized under ORC, maybe.
What program was she talking about?
Yeah. I know we have information from USDA and from a couple other agencies with regards to connections for seniors. They cover the cost, you'd be able to obtain grants or loans to cover the cost of that. Sorry. to cover the cost of the connection.
Go ahead in the back.
Mike Valco, Howard Drive. Has there been any more requests from any entities for ARPA funds besides the hospital?
There's not been any new requests since last week.
What was that again?
Sorry, there's not been any new requests made for the ARPA funds since last week.
Okay, and could you tell me how much the hospital requested?
I don't have
I
a
don't
copy
remember
of
off the top of my head. I can get that for you though.
Okay, so there are ARPA funds available. It's being reviewed by the prosecutor, that's what we're saying, and we're kind of waiting on him for any major response to you guys?
For this project, yes.
Okay, then you're gonna set up an evening meeting
Yes.
with the
We'll set up
residents?
an
of
meeting
Wilshire Heights?
with the residents.
Okay, and let us know. Now, there was a date mentioned at the last meeting, at the last commissioners meeting, March the 1st, 2021. And I believe you said that there was, what was it? No projects started before that date would appropriate ARPA funds? Did I understand that correctly?
There's language in the rules from the Treasury that say that, can't be for funds that were expended before that date.
Okay, so
And
we're already.
I don't know that date was actually, it might be like March 3rd, it's early March 2021. I'm gonna have to
2021.
look at the,
So we're already blown out of the water on this, is what you're saying?
that's the way I understand it, but that's what's before the prosecutor's office to review.
Okay, we'll see what the prosecutor comes up with. Now, this is the same prosecutor that went to the 11th District Court of Appeals, poo-pooing Judge Grendel's ruling on the sewer installation. Is that correct?
That is
Same-
correct, yes.
Could you tell me which assistant prosecutor is pursuing this?
Well, the assistant prosecutor that was on that project was Susan Whelan,
Uh-huh.
but the one who was reviewing the ARPA funds is the prosecutor himself, to my knowledge.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
The one, to my knowledge, who was reviewing this for the ARPA funds for this project is actually Jim Flays, the prosecutor himself.
Okay, but it was the woman, Jane Whelan?
Susan Whelan,
Okay, she was the one at the 11th District Court.
correct. She is Water Resources APA, their attorney,
Okay, but the prosecutor himself is reviewing the ARPA funds.
to my knowledge, yes.
Okay, well, we'll see what he has to say. When does that due? You said it was 30 days from 2 weeks ago?
No,
Last week?
Last week, they
Last week.
redid the original resolution and added 30 additional days to it. I think it was, I forget what date was in the resolution, it was April
April
22nd? Something
April
like that.
22nd?
Don't quote me on that, because it was April 20th, 20-something. I don't remember the actual date.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or a report from the health department?
Hey, thank you, Mr. Vorak, for coming out to the HDAC meeting. We do have a new board member, Carolyn Brakey. She starts, I'm actually taking her to lunch today to just kind of get her on board.
Did they appoint her last week?
Yeah.
What's that?
They appointed her last week?
Yeah, last Wednesday night, 7 to,
Okay.
I think it was 10 o'clock. But they appointed her then, and then I'm going to take her out to lunch today, kind of get her up and running on stuff and get her going. We also got to go out to see the new building a couple of times, so thank you guys for that. It's been a nice thing to go out and see a new building. And other than that, just thank you guys for, helping us out and everything else.
You bet. Thank you.
Yep.
Your name?
Yeah, my name's Alan Seger. I live in Bainbridge. And I'm a guy that can't afford his taxes. I'm in a sheriff's sale right now. And Geauga County destroyed my property a couple of years ago when they came for job services to work on my boiler and turned my, I'll take this off. I'm also a disabled veteran, but they came and they turned my boiler on, didn't turn the water things off. They knew the pipes were frozen, destroyed my house. You fall through the kitchen floor. I had one commissioner come out and look at my house last year, and their communications between Department of Aging and your office shows that they knew the pipes were frozen and they destroyed my house. And why do I gotta pay taxes when I'm not allowed to use the Department of Aging? Because I was a whistleblower and they punished me. And that's also in writing, but they swear I'm not a whistleblower. I would also like to know how, when I became a whistleblower, they were using a legal organization in Willoughby for senior citizens. Why didn't they have, for 5 years, they didn't have a contract with these guys, and back then it was $80,000. They didn't have a contract. Somehow they backdated everything, supposedly. They took care of the back things. It's all in these emails that nobody wants to give me. I'm one of the last 1,000 people drafted in this country. When there was a draft in the Vietnam War and all that stuff. Unfortunately, I got the vacation in Europe instead of the jungles. So I'm here to, and you know, nobody wants to fix my house. Why should it? And I went to a court trial the other day with our mighty prosecutor. I was supposed to have a hearing, and then they threw summary judgment on me, and then they threw it out. They wouldn't give me a lawyer, which my constitutional rights are. They let me have a lawyer. If the judge had any brains, she knows she wastes $1,400 on having arbitration. What a joke. Arbitration's always a joke, you know. And last time that, since we talked about Mr. Joyce's name popped up, last time my property went up for sheriff's sale, Mr. Joyce was our prosecutor. So how does he put the property up for sale? There's 3 pieces of property owned by 3 different people, or 2 different people. Now, I don't know how you can put that up for sheriff's sale on the thing. And Joyce was the prosecutor several years ago, and he sent it up for sheriff's sale to my unborn, unconceived son. That's the kind of guy we have in Congress. And I don't hear nothing good about not Judge Joyce, but Congressman Joyce, you know. So, I don't know, I can't even get public records from you guys, you know. And then one other thing, I lived in Bainbridge, I've been here for 69 years. McFarland's sewer plant was built. My dad and everybody else in Bainbridge paid for that thing. And we don't get to use the sewer plant. We were told if we pay for the sewer plant, that's what they told our parents. Pay for the sewer plant, when your septic tanks go bad, you can hook in. That's a fallacy. Never happened. And part of the sewer from Bainbridge goes to Chagrin, where there was a deal Chagrin would clean so much sewage, you know, for the Chagrin Falls Park, we used to call it. I don't know what it's called today. But we never used our full amount back then, you know. And, you know, it's nothing but lies. Nobody cares my house was destroyed by Geauga County. And maybe I'll come up here to get warm when they sell my house for $20,000 or $50,000. Then you have your another $50,000. I apologize for not paying my taxes, but I'm a disabled veteran, and my taxes are more than my income. That's it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Oh, okay.
Aye.
That's again.
Jim or Jeff? Thank you, appreciate that. Oh, yeah. Hey, Jim, you got a minute?
I think I'm correct.
It's used.
Yep.